It is good to see you on this Monday, and we do begin with breaking news at this noon hour. Some evacuation orders have now been lifted from a wildfire burning near Lewiston. It is called the Express Fire that began overnight in the hills north of US 95 above the Clearwater River. It has since burned about 1,200 acres. Nez Perce Tribe tells us here at KREM 2 that evacuation orders for the Clearwater River Casino and Express gas station have been lifted at this noon hour. It is not clear if any residential areas are still under evacuation. The tribe said there was no damage to the casino from the fire, but some older outbuildings along the property may have been damaged. Authorities are asking people to use caution when driving along US 95 in that area. The cause of the fire is currently unknown. This is, of course, a developing situation. We'll keep you updated as we learn more again about this fire near Lewiston right here on KREM 2, and of course you can track it on KREM.com as well. Of course, weather is always a big concern and a big factor when it comes to wildfires. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is standing by. And Thomas, certainly a scary situation in Lewiston. Cooler temperatures here in the Spokane area.
Yeah, and that's right. And when it comes to wildfires, always want to first and foremost take a look at the winds and the wind direction in that region. So let's zoom in on that express fire near the Lewiston area. The prevailing winds in the atmosphere largely out of the west, so any kind of embers would actually be blowing away from Lewiston, but still we know that that fire is close to that Highway 95, Highway 12 corridor that's nearest the casino. So we're still keeping an eye on that, and the winds in Lewiston out of the south and west at 5 miles per hour, but notice on top of that ridge, there's an observation of 28 mile per hour wind gusts as well. And it has been a fairly windy day, so obviously we'll keep monitoring the winds, but know this, that the wind direction is largely pushing that fire away from the Lewiston area. Wind gusts already this morning had been upwards of 30 to even 35 miles per hour or thereabouts in that region. As a storm system, the same cold front that moved through last night that provided some rain and some thunderstorms for North Idaho is still pushing through the region as of the noon hour right now. That core, that low pressure area, still over North Idaho, providing the area with cooler temperatures and breezy conditions at the same time. So that's why temperatures are largely stuck in the 60s between Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, and Spokane. But once we're out from underneath that low pressure center, we'll see those temperatures recover into the 70s for our region and into the 80s for central Washington.
Happening today, 6 members of a white nationalist hate group are scheduled to appear in court. Police arrested them alongside 25 others on charges of planning to riot at a pride celebration in Coeur d'Alene last month. KREM 2's Malia Kamal has a preview of what we can expect this afternoon.
Yes, this is a case that is being watched by many. Many are following this case. Now, you might remember the video of the 31 men jammed in the back of a U-Haul. Now, this has gained national attention and shocked the community here in Coeur d'Alene and the surrounding areas. But let's get you up to speed on what's happening today. The 6 suspects are appearing before a judge today. Now, 2 of these suspects have ties to the inland Northwest. They are Michael Buster of Spokane and his brother Josiah Buster, who currently has a Texas address, but neither have any criminal history. To give you some background, last month police found 31 men packed inside a U-Haul truck after someone spotted them loading up and called to report, and what they are saying looked like a little army. The men were found wearing the same outfits that included Patriot Front logos, which is a known white nationalist hate group. Now, these men made homemade riot shields, smoke grenades, and marked up plans. Police arrested them for conspiracy to riot, which is a misdemeanor offense. By the next day, all the men had bonded out of the Kootenai County Jail. Now, the men come from 13 states, and the court dates are scheduled for the upcoming weeks. Now, with the last court date appearance set for the end of August. The first batch of arraignments take place today, meaning the judge will read the men their rights and they will enter into a plea. According to Idaho statute, conspiracy to riot is punishable by up to a year in prison and up to a $5,000 fine. Now, there are 6 suspects that have court appearances scheduled for today. Some are in person, others are via Zoom. Now, we will be watching the case closely, and we will have all the updates on our later shows as well as on KREM.com. In Coeur d'Alene, Malia Kamal, KREM 2 News.
And the hate group's arrest in Coeur d'Alene was far from the region's first run-in with white supremacy. Nicole Hernandez breaking down now. North Idaho has been combating hate for decades.
The history of hate in North Idaho goes back 50 years, all coming to a head in the 80s and 90s. Since then, North Idaho leadership has been working to separate the community from those ideologies. Current Mayor Jim Hammond says North Idaho is past that time in their history.
We are not a city who wishes to bring any hurt upon anyone. So it's important, because Coeur d'Alene has experienced that before. We're not going back to the days of the Aryan nations.
The hate group Patriot Front showing up in Coeur d'Alene was a stark reminder of the decades of combating hate in North Idaho. North Idaho's Aryan history started back in the early 70s. Richard Butler, an active member of white supremacist organizations in California, moved to Hayden, Idaho. That's where he founded the Aryan Nations, building a 20-acre compound. Over the next few decades, the region became a main hub for the neo-Nazi movement. In 1982, the compound in Hayden hosted the Aryan World Congress. The group passed out racist pamphlets and started having run-ins with the law.
It could have been worse. No one was hurt or killed.
In September 1986, white supremacists set off several bombs in Coeur d'Alene. One of the targets, this courthouse on Lakeside and 4th Avenue. Fast forward a few years to the Ruby Ridge standoffs in 1992. The 11-day siege was to arrest Randy Weaver, who had been to several Aryan Nations meetings. Over the course of the 11 days, members of the hate group showed up to protest the siege. Over the next few years, several bombings and bank robberies happened in Spokane that police later tied to an Aryan Nation splinter group called the Order. In April 1996, another set of white nationalists bombed Spokane City Hall.
When the bomb exploded outside this building.
No one was hurt in those bombings, and that bomber is still in jail. Through all this, Richard Butler hosted Aryan Nation marches in North Idaho. This is video from a 1998 march.
2, 4, 6, 8. We don't want your racist hate!
Even in the thick of these marches, the community was fighting hate in their region.
So are you saying you're not proud to be white? You need to be proud of being white.
This isn't just the Aryan March, this is Aryan/Nazi March. Look at the Nazi sign at the Aryan Nations compound. Nazism as a political ideology is based on human rights violations. As a human being going in the 21st century, I can't stand by and just watch that.
Butler was still attending these events, though, fueling the fire. Despite all the run-ins with the law, it took this mother and son to finally take down the organization. In 2001, the duo, along with Southern Poverty Law Center, sued the Aryan Nations and won. That effectively bankrupted the group. The group ultimately started disbanding after Butler died in 2004. Since North Idaho has actually celebrated the disbanding of the Aryan Nations. In 2010, civil rights advocates dedicated this commemorative stone to the downfall of the movement. That dedication is still on display at North Idaho College. In the past few years, though, the Kootenai County Task Force for Human Relations has noticed a resurgence of white supremacist ideologies in North Idaho and nationwide. Tony Stewart, co-founder of the task force, says this recent resurgence is different than back in the 80s and 90s. We aren't seeing established hate groups returning to the area, but North Idaho does have people living here who oppose human rights and social justice. Coeur d'Alene police said they had dozens of people call in after they arrested the 31 members of that hate group. They say the calls were split 50-50, with people supporting police versus the hate group. Stewart says he does not think the community as a whole is split 50-50, but he does call these ideologies a disease of sorts that need to be stopped from spreading.
To really be able to be effective, it's really important that people not remain silent, not sit on the sidelines. So one of our tasks is to try to convince people, become part of the solution.
The task force got right to work after the arrest last month. They started by distributing 1,000 of the North Idaho Rejects Hate t-shirts, and another 1,000 are on the way. In the newsroom, Nicole Hernandez, Crime 2 News.
And for more information on our coverage of the Coeur d'Alene arrests, just text the word arrest to our text line. That is 509-448-2000. We'll send a link right to your phone. And we do have some new information about a deadly golf cart crash in Bonner County over the weekend. Spokane police confirmed that one of their officers died in the crash and another one was hurt. According to Idaho State Police, the crash happened on West Lakeshore Road. 5 people were in the golf cart when they lost control and the cart rolled over. A 52-year-old Spokane man died. He was an officer with the Spokane Police Department. 4 others, including another SPD officer, were hurt. We are tracking more breaking news at noon. Washington State University has named an acting police chief as it investigates allegations of employee misconduct within the campus police department. WSU didn't say what the officers are accused of, saying personnel investigations are indeed considered confidential. The department also wouldn't confirm which officers are under investigation. However, we do know the positions of chief and acting associate vice president for public safety have been reassigned.